In this video, I'm going to show a lot of the stuff that I currently have under development and how it all relates, and pretty much give an idea of where I'm trying to take the product by myself, and also to encourage customers that see something, a feature that they like, and they want to either contribute to the development or they want the product to go in a certain direction. It's best to now work with me while I'm creating this product. If you want something very specific, simply because once it's created, I may not have the ability to revisit it. So it'd be better to actually tell me what it is that you're looking for in the product, and particularly if you're a larger company, contribute to the development so that it actually came out with a product that you'd be interested in. So one of the things I've been spending most of my time working on has been tables, and making those so that they're completely configurable. So I'm going to zoom in on this table real quick. And the premise is that as I create a drawing or add to a drawing, that my bill of materials and my products are actually calculated. And so the easiest thing to look at is if I add a symbol, and particularly if I add a symbol that has some complexity to it. In this case, I've got a scaffold frame. It has a price, but also when I put in a scaffold frame, it also is going to have foot pads associated with it. In a similar fashion, if I add another component, which is going to be two separate crossbars, that actually is going to have a calculation as well, right? And so as I continue to add these products in, my table maintains itself, etc. And I can just kind of, in a visual fashion, create a drawing, but I'm also performing engineering calculations at the same time. So we can see how this is actually pretty kind of helpful. We'll just move that to a side. In addition, say for example, I wanted to create the scaffolding along a wall. I would actually just draw the wall, select the line, and now I could actually go to a different type of symbol, and I'm going to use electrical symbols in this case. If I pressed on a symbol and put in the maximum distance, or in the case of scaffolding, I could have another parameter in there, but it's going to calculate the correct number of units and then apply them to a table and perform a calculation. So those are just pretty basic, simple calculations, just doing it in that fashion. Now, if you're familiar with the product, you'll know that there was always another table that was available. There's a couple of other tables. There was a summary table, and we'll just drop that in. And perhaps I should just go to another page and just start this over again. So here, let's go ahead and drop in the summary table. Actually, it's already here in this particular form. And so, for example, if I calculated an area, and we can do something very arbitrary, as long as the, where are we? There we go. There's my cross lines. We can drop in our dimensions, of course, but if we calculated an area and we would just select the lines around a closed perimeter and hit calculate area, we'll notice that that area has been calculated. And that's interesting, but that's as far as this particular type of table took it. What I'd really like to do is do the same calculation based upon an actual fill, and so this isn't working yet. But just to show you, if for example I had a fill and I had a type of, I was going to put in a pad that's 8 inches of concrete and hit fill, that should also add it to the calculation as well. So we can see it in this one table that it's done that, but it should have a cost associated with it, and should, rather than show up as area B, it should actually show that it's actually 8-inch concrete. And we can have tables that are specifically set up so that they're going to capture the specific amount. So say for example I have a table that's only going to capture my where I'm pouring 8-inch concrete, another table that's where it's capturing the reinforced concrete, or the 4-inch, or the thinner concrete. We could have tables so that they could actually key in off of that information and then calculate accordingly. The other thing is, the same thing would be applying to links. Now, the way I calculate links at this point, and we'll just go over here, if I select lines, see I select these 3 lines, and I say calculate length, it adds it to the summary table, as we can see. But that's not really what we want to do. What we really want to do is say, okay, those are going to be gutters around a house, or those are going to be, I don't know, like a curb or something like that. Again, we could actually define that so that it would automatically calculate not only the type, it would have a cost associated with that, and it would populate the information. So those are a couple of examples of the product direction I'd like to take the product in, but as you can see, we're still kind of working on that aspect. There is also the integration aspect, and say for example I have an appointment. This is another area which I think would be very useful to clients. So if I select a particular appointment, these could be distributed to the particular user, person in the company that needs to get them. They would have their appointments for the day. It would give them their appointment information. It would show the turn-by-turn directions. So if they went to get directions, it would actually take them right to turn-by-turn directions to that location from where they are right now. We'll go back into GraphPad and actually kind of, if also we can have a lot of information, not just what I'm providing here, but say for example I had a ton of information about the customer that I wanted to have on a form. It would pre-populate it. So we can actually see that it pre-populated just the address and the name of the client. But really, in a custom application, it could be downloading a lot of information, billing addresses, any particulars about that customer that you want to appear in the form or be part of calculations, etc. So those are the main directions that I'm taking the product. It is with the integration of these complex tables, and I'm sorry, I'll go back into these tables again. These tables, in addition to having components, we can also do engineering calculations. So here I have a table that's based on cylindrical calculations. We can just add a record, not going to be in text mode, add a record, type in a radius, let's say 45, return, and a height, 10. It's going to automatically calculate and total, right? So if we added more of these, total these calculations. But these tables are all completely configurable. So I can have it so that it not only adds a component, but for that component it adds a calculation as well. So any combination of components that are being added, as we demonstrated in this table up here with the scaffolding, where we have multiple pieces. So we add a piece, it actually adds, an icon actually represents a whole configuration of items, and as they interact it sums up the total. I can have engineering calculations associated with it, etc. And so there's a lot of flexibility, and obviously there's a lot of work that goes into this. But this shows the areas that I'm actually developing the product on my own. Again, if you're a company that's looking for something that's similar to this, that'd be some area that we could work together and make sure that the end product that I'm developing comes out with something that exactly what you need. So that's really my presentation. It kind of shows the various directions I'm taking the product, and I hope everybody finds this interesting. Thank you very much.